I'm James Cherry. I'm a poet and writer here, born and raised in Jackson, Tennessee. I always like to say that I'm a local writer with international appeal, I guess. But this station is so important to the artistic community. If you are a writer, there's a program that airs here, Tennessee Writes. They feature local writers. They give writers a chance to expound upon their craft, to talk about their writing. What Channel 11 does, it helps foster the literary arts, not only locally, but around the state and the nation. So please support this station and their programming. You can visit westtennesseepbs.org or WLJT.org. I'm James E. Cherry, and it's all about home.
Imagine being at a Civil War battle, and then just a few hours later, you're on the front lines of a battle of World War II. Well, if you're in Saltillo, you'll be walking through our history. It's part of their Tennessee River Rendezvous, which brings history to life right off the pages of history books and off the movie screens. This celebration of our history started in 2020 here in Hardin County on the banks of the Tennessee River. Honoring our history and our veterans is in the city's DNA. Saltillo was originally called Davies Landing, but was renamed by a Mexican-American war veteran. The Tennessee River Rendezvous recreates historic moments from the Mexican-American War to the Civil War, both world wars, up to the Vietnam War. This is where you can actually see history before your eyes. Remembering our past wars, from the veterans who fought them to the weapons they used, is part of our history here at home.
I mean, honestly, I think it's the history. People are hungry for it, are hungry, I feel like, for true history.
My husband has been recently killed in battle, so therefore you can see I'm plainly dressed.
Look at the diaries that the soldiers that were there wrote. You'll get a better history than you will in any regular history book.
We're hometown, proud of our history. We're built on solid ground.
It's all about home. It's all about history. It's all about West Tennessee. This is All About Home History.
It's all about home.
Hello, I'm Peter Knoll. In this edition of WLJT's All About Home History, we are in Saltillo for their annual Tennessee River Rendezvous, where the sounds and smells of muskets and cannons fills the air as history comes to life before our very eyes. The interest in the Civil War is especially high here in West Tennessee. We are about 30 minutes from where the Battle of Shiloh was fought, one of the bloodiest of the Civil War. Let's watch as the Tennessee River Rendezvous brings the Civil War to life.
I'm Confederate Belle Rita Raines. This is Confederate Belle Regina Sharp. This is Confederate Belle Cindy Adkins. We're going to demonstrate some of the fashions that the ladies would have worn during the war years. I'll start off, I am the widow. My husband has been recently killed in battle, so therefore you can see I'm plainly dressed. I have no adornments, I have no fancy laces, I have no frilly hats or silks or satins. I am dressed to create a shadow of my husband. I will be probably confined to my room upstairs in my home after the funeral, and I will be there to greet guests at their request. I'm very solemn, and I'm very alone at this time. I will be in this plain dress as you see here in my home. When I go out in public, which is very seldom, only to necessary appointments and to my church services. The veiling that is worn is very thick, so you cannot see any facial features in the veiling. And this is worn each and every time the widow goes out in public. Her family doesn't have to wear the black. Sometimes the men will wear shoulder bands, armbands. The little girls will be wearing white ribbons. because they are still in the little girl stage and not need to be in black. They're still dainty little females, so therefore they would be having white ribbons. I would be in this garb for a year and a day. After the year and the day, I will go into second stage mourning, which my outfit still being black, my veil, the veil is where you can actually see facial features. Okay. The second stage mourning, after a year and a day, the lady will go into more lacy, frilly type things because she has entered her second stage mourning, which may last several months. After the and during the second stage mourning, she may switch to a lighter bonnet with the lighter veiling. The third stage mourning, the widow actually can come out of some of the black into other colors. One which is sort of a gray, and as you can see, it also is a shiny fabric, which has much more adornment. The skirting has much more lace, and as you can see, this is one that a lady may even wear out to maybe an occasional seldom tea, where she would be maybe the honored guest as she has entered her last stage of mourning. Her last stage of mourning, this is when the lady actually comes out of mourning. She has shown the public that she has finished her mourning period, and I'd like to talk a little bit about this gown. This gown was handmade, the beading all hand done, by a lady by the name of Gay Clark. She lives in Kentucky. Gay Clark is my cannon commander. She owns 4 cannons, and she's a very good commander, and I appreciate being associated with the 14th Kentucky. But if anybody wants to come up and look at our gowns, you're more than welcome to. Thank you so much for your time.
Danny Campbell, but everybody calls me Grizzly. I tell people Campbell's from Scotland. They were the King's Guard in Scotland, the Campbell family. When the old song, "The Campbells are coming, the Campbells are coming," it was a war song. They were coming to wipe you out. So like the Campbell Soup Company, I didn't get any of the finances, so I have to be a poor soldier out trying to make ends meet.
And you're from where?
Parsons, Tennessee. Yes.
And how long have you been involved in Civil War reenactments?
Over 25 years.
How did you get involved?
A gentleman that I met was a reenactor. His ancestor fought in the Civil War on the Confederate side, 31st Tennessee Company E. My hat, 31st Tennessee Company E up here. And we met at an event outside of any reenactments, and he goes, "You would make a great Civil War soldier." And I go, "What's that?" You know, yes, I know they're Civil War reenactors and whatever. I said, but didn't know they existed at the time. This was in the mid 1990s. And so at that time, we were able to have reenactments at Parker's Crossroads, Tennessee. And so he goes, "We're fixing to have a reenactment there. Show up. We'll get you outfitted and get you on the field. And once I get you on the field, you'll be in uniform." He was right.
So is this a uniform that you're wearing now?
Yes.
For the Confederate side?
Yes.
Okay.
What misunderstanding is that the Confederate States armies, and that's plural because every state had its own standing army, that they all wore gray uniforms. That's not true. Only Virginia paid to have every soldier in the Virginia military a gray wool uniform. So Tennessee sent 31st Tennessee. They had two 31st Tennessee units out of Tennessee, Confederates. One out of Nashville, one out of McKenzie. I'm part of the McKenzie, what's left of the McKenzie group. The Nashville group got sent to Virginia. They got gray uniforms. When their indentured servitude up there was done, they came back, they brought the uniforms with them. But for the rest of the states, it was whatever you had available.
So the miniseries, The Blue and the Gray, sort of misbelieved that all the Confederate soldiers had gray.
Yes. And if you pay attention to that movie, it's shot in Virginia. So for the movie,
It was correct.
it was correct. But you get out of Virginia, and if you go back in your history books and look at the Louisiana militia, they were very colorful. We had Scotsmen in the Confederate Army that were wearing kilts. A year ago, I ran across a Korean gentleman fighting on the Confederate, doing reenactment as a Confederate soldier. I said, wait a minute. I knew we had an international war called the Civil War, but I didn't realize Koreans were here. He goes, oh yes, there was a gentleman, he's buried just south of Nashville. He goes, now his name is kind of misleading, but his initials and the history show that he was from Korea. Now on the southern side, we had everybody fighting side by side. Didn't matter your color, didn't matter your background. It was not the same on the Union side. So the Union, if you were a black soldier, which they had some, you had to have a white commanding, all of your officers are white. So you could not fight without your white commanding officer. They gave those the dirtiest, lousiest jobs.
So we watched the entire and videotaped the entire Civil War reenactment. Tell us what that all entails.
That little skirmish?
That little skirmish.
Little skirmish. The Union forces, as normal, attacked. They came in. They attacked a sovereign nation. People get it mixed up that Lincoln wanted to keep the Union together. The problem is the 7 southern states had seceded legal paperwork 3 months before Lincoln swore the oath to office as the president. So when the war was fought, Lincoln invaded a sovereign nation against the Constitution. So we stood up and said, no, we will not allow you to invade it. The war ended. Unfortunately, the generals of the other states, when Lee surrendered, which is the misnomer that Lee was in charge of all the Confederate armies. He was not, just the Army of Northern Virginia. They said, well, if Lee gives up, we're done. And so that's where we're at. But on this battle, the Union come out. We had the artillery fire because they can go out 10 or 15 miles. Had the cavalry come out. They can get there faster because they have horses and they have a little more firepower than the infantry. And so we had a small infantry detachment that was doing mostly dismounted tactics, not really infantry tactics. They're different, but looks the same for most people that don't understand that. And we just kind of back and forth. And that's the way it would have happened. The other interesting thing is the Confederate soldiers died on the field. They got shot. We all died. That's a reenactment. That's not exactly correct. More soldiers died of dysentery and disease and heat stroke than from bullet wounds.
I feel the heat stroke being a Yankee by birth. Yeah.
In Virginia, there was a battle that both sides lost more men to heat stroke than they did of bullet wounds or anything else. So, yeah. And so you'll notice I'm not wearing a jacket. It's too hot for that. I'm also not wearing shoes. I've been doing that from day one. So 20 years, one of the reasons I guess they call me Grizzly.
How many reenactments have you been involved in?
I couldn't tell you.
Over 200?
Well, not 200 different reenactments, but over 200 reenactments. I was listing some the other day, 15 different reenactments over multiple years.
What do you think is the most surprising thing people that didn't know about the Civil War after they see a reenactment that they learn or know?
Two things. We did not, at least in the Western Theater, which was not Virginia, we did not wear the wool gray. The other is that the battle flag is a Christian flag based on Christianity. That they go, what? No, that stands for slavery. No, it had nothing to do with slavery. It has everything to do with independence. Another thing people don't, I say two things, there's several multiple things. People don't realize that the original Declaration of Independence for the 13 original colonies, when you look at that, it says the Confederated States of America. So when the South seceded, they wanted to be as close to the original concept of the Constitution as they possibly could. So their Constitution represented that. One of the things that was interesting to me about the Confederate Constitution is that it outlawed any person from Africa. You could not bring them into the Confederate States of America and sell them as indentured servants or slaves. But also interesting, they could be brought from the northern side of the territory and could be sold in the southern territories.
I noticed that there were a lot of young men involved in it. It seems like there's more interest growing amongst a younger class. Is that true?
We hope. It's not true. Okay. We're thankful for our younger guys that are showing up. A lot of the older guys that have been doing it as long as I have, or longer than I have gotten too busted up, too old. After the 150th events for the war, they go, we're done. We've been doing it for years and we're done. It's just too hard. So,
and if somebody wants to get involved, who do they contact?
The best answer for that, because I know this is going to go over multiple areas, find a reenactment. Go online, look up. There's many websites that deal with reenactments all across the United States. If you have the money and the desire, you could be at a reenactment or living history for the Civil War era every weekend of the year. From Pennsylvania, New York, Florida, Louisiana, Texas, even to California, they have reenactments all over the United States. So wherever your area is, find where they're doing a living history or a reenactment And you will have units there that would love to have you come in and say, hey, educate me. I would like to learn more. They would be tickled pink to help you out.
And if somebody contacts the station and wants to get involved in your local ones, who should they contact?
I would say contact the Tennessee River Rendezvous because they have access to many different groups. And so no matter what area the person would contact, there would be an area that they could point them in the right direction.
What's your favorite part about the Civil War reenactments?
This right here, talking to people, educating people, trying to enlighten people about the true facts instead of what the history books lie to us about. That's my favorite part.
And now when you're not a Civil War reenactor, what are you doing?
I'm a disabled American veteran.
And what wars?
I was in between wars. I was in 77 to 80. So I was in between Vietnam and Desert Best, Desert Storm, that area.
Where did you serve?
I was Army Medical Supply Specialist. Served in Georgia.
Well, thank you for your service.
You're welcome. And I'm still serving.
Any other questions? Anything else you want to share with us?
Enjoy, and I hope people get to go back and look at the original books. Look at the diaries that the soldiers that were there wrote. You will get a better history than you will in any regular history book. Thank you for all that you do.
Well, Mike, tell us, how did the River Rendezvous begin?
Well, it's funny how it began. If you guys have noticed the flint knapper guys just sitting down here making arrowheads, that's really all honestly how it began. A lot of the events we attended was drying up, and the guys, were looking for new places to go. So I told them if I'd start something, and so that's how it began. About that time COVID hit, all of these guys, their events were getting canceled, so they were wanting something to do, and
that was the year 2000, correct?
That was 2021. And lo and behold, ever since then, it's just went up more and more and more.
And it started in another place that we're at today than the Smith Farm. Tell us about that.
It did. It started when we first began. It was in downtown Saltillo behind the community center, the old ball field there. And we started with maybe 3 or 4 camps, kind of like the Long Hunters there, a couple of Civil War guys, and flint knappers and some craft vendors, and it just went wild from there.
Have you always been a history buff, personally?
Always. Yes, sir. I always have.
Because I understand your son's also a history buff. He's gotten that history gene, must be from you.
Well, I would like to think so. But yes, sir. Yeah.
Now, do you dress up in period costume? What's your war of choice?
I do multiple eras. I'll do Revolutionary War. I do some Continental. A lot of militia, Long Hunter, or militia style, Civil War and World War II.
Have you been surprised at how popular this event has become?
I have. I really have. I know a lot of things like this, especially in this day and time, history sometimes can be a little controversial, but I think the important thing is that what people see here is true history, and that's what we need to focus on, what men and women did for us back from 250 years ago. And I think it's important that, everybody get to experience that, young and old.
I just get a feeling it's not just for people that enjoy history, but it's really to honor the men and women that were there.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
It is. It's very humbling. I know the men and women that were there. Unfortunately, those ancestors of ours that helped found this country can no longer tell their story. When we get to our World War II, sadly, we're losing those gentlemen very rapidly. They give a lot for us, and to my mind, that's why they're called the greatest generation. So we always try to make sure we get World War II veterans out here that's able to and honor them, and it's everybody from every era of history.
We were here yesterday and today, and when I got out of my van, then I saw guys 30 years older than me with their walkers and their canes walking, and they were excited to be here. And, you know, they were here because it brings them, they wanted to be here so bad.
Right.
Tell me why that is.
Well, I think it's a lot of things. I think it's the history. I mean, honestly, I think it's the history. People are hungry for it. Are hungry, I feel like, for true history, not what certain individuals want us to think history is about. And I believe that honestly is the main thing. And we try to accommodate everybody the best we can. We want everybody to experience true Southern hospitality. What it is, as you guys can see here today, every flag that you see on this fence is an individual represented on this field this weekend. So there's 30 different states that's here.
And there's people, I mean, from 30 different states from all over the country coming here to Saltillo.
Saltillo, Tennessee.
How many people live in Saltillo?
I think the population, now don't hold me, I think it's around 368.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's under 1,000.
Yes, sir, it's definitely way under 1,000.
And today, how many people do we estimate came?
I want to estimate probably around 3,500, 4,000 people.
And then yesterday you had schools from all over and school districts and homeschools.
Right, and yesterday I feel like we had a solid, 2,000 people, in attendance with the kids and their grandparents, parents, whoever was with them, and just the general in public as well.
What do you hope people, after they come here, what do you hope they take away?
I hope they take away patriotism. I hope it regenerates their patriotism. I hope if they've ever questioned what this country is about, I hope what they experience this weekend here will rejuvenate that in their spirit.
And are you already planning next year's Tennessee River Rendezvous?
Now that I'm going, you give me 2 weeks, and I might give you a definite
because this
answer.
isn't put together in a weekend.
Oh no, sir! It is every single. There's not one single day from starting tomorrow when cleanup begins until the day the event starts next year. There's not one single day that there's not work done on this event.
Why do you keep doing it?
Patriotism, love of history, but the main thing, education. And if you've noticed smiles on these people out here today, that's what keeps me to doing it every year, and honoring our veterans, of course.
Thank you for joining WLJT for this edition of All About Home History from Saltillo's Tennessee River Rendezvous, as we witnessed our history coming to life before our very eyes. I'm Peter Knoll. I thank you for watching and remembering our history with us.
Channel 11 WLJT. It's all about home. PBS for West Tennessee. It's all about home. Remember home with a legacy. It's all about home. Bringing the best to your family. It's all about home.
This program you've been watching was made possible through the generous financial support of West Tennessee PBS viewers like you. Please visit westtnpbs.org and make a donation today so that we can continue to make local programs like this possible. Thank you.